I lived for many years without no water. I lived for many years without the will to live, surprisingly enough. And each day, the simplest of things, like getting out of bed in the morning, is like climbing up a great mountain. And the hardest part is that when you're stuck and lost in the darkness, it can appear hopeless and that there is no way to escape. And it is only when we lose hope do we give up. Now I live at the opposite of the spectrum, where I'm mostly in peace. I'm mostly happy to be alive. And throughout the whole journey, I've come to understand what it takes to escape the darkness. The first step is simply to move. You have to move your body and begin circulating the energy within you, because energy is synonymous with the force of life. And so when we lose the will to live, that means our energy is imbalanced or lacking. As I'm sure you know, when you have lots of energy, you feel more alive. And when you have no energy, you feel like death. You don't feel like living. That is why it is extremely difficult to do simple things when you're in this deep, depressed state. It's like a black hole. The whole weight of the world is crushing you. And so energy is not stagnant. It is always moving. So when we begin circulating that energy within us, then bit by bit, we develop more strength, because energy is also power. And so when we lack power, we lack control over our lives. We lack the ability to really do anything. So the key is to harness our energy and begin systematically stopping where our energy is being leaked and accumulating more of it. Because the more life force we have, the more energy we have, the more we feel alive, and the more power we have to live. The simplest and easiest thing that takes generally no effort is to go for a walk every morning, to start your day off circulating that energy. And if you're not at that point yet where you feel like you can go for a 10-minute walk every morning, you break it down into the simplest and easiest step in which that action takes no effort. So for instance, if you feel like you can't go for a walk, then simply get out of bed. Make that a habit. Or go put your shoes on, walk outside, and then walk back in. What you want is to program the body to repeat a certain set of behaviors, so that the process becomes automatic and you don't have to use willpower to engage in that action. You might begin simply by going outside, getting some sunlight in the morning, and doing a few stretches. Whatever is easiest for you. Because the more you engage in this habit, the more energy you will begin to have, and the more you will be able to push yourself a bit more. Along the way, you will get encouragement, and you'll actually have the desire to do more difficult things. So you might begin with simply getting out of bed in the morning, transition into going outside, getting sunlight, doing stretches, transition into going for a walk for 10 minutes, transition into going for a jog. Each step, each behavior increases the circulation of energy within you. And as you begin working the system, your body, you will train it to become more efficient and effective at allowing the flow of energy within you. This is that motivational force. When we have a lot of energy, we are inspired to live. So be sure to focus on breathing, focus on moving your body, on stretching. In order to get out of a rut, you have to have some momentum. You have to build some momentum. Do some crazy shakes if you have to. Go scream into a pillow. Do a cold shower. You got to do something to move the worst thing you can do is stay still, especially when your environment is likely that which is consuming you and crushing you. The reason that we fall into a deep depressed state is because in all these different areas of our life, our energy is being leaked. It's being siphoned. And because this energy is the life force, where life is not, death is. So the moment that the life force becomes imbalanced and the death force becomes dominant, then we are on a sure path to manifest death in our life. And it gets worse and it gets worse and it gets worse until the moment that death is manifest. Whether that be suicide, whether that be taking your anger out on the world, throwing your life away. The moment you can shift the balance back to equal, then you are no longer progressing towards death. And then the moment you begin shifting life back into your favor, then you will inevitably make progress. So the moment you can get that balance back in your favor, you have already won. It just takes a bit of time. And the more you can reserve that energy, accumulate more energy, stop more energy leaking from you, the quicker you will ascend back to a state of being happy to be alive, being at peace, being in joy, appreciating the simple things of life. This can be seen as raising your frequency. So if you think about it, take for instance a black hole and a star, or the sun. The sun is energy, and that's vibration. That vibration is creating heat. It is creating life. It is the creative force of existence. Just as a star is the creative force, it is the life force of the universe. Black holes are the force of death in the universe. They are vibrating at a very slow rate. The more energy we have, the higher our vibration will be. And the less energy we have, the lower our vibration will be. So the first step is to raise our frequency by focusing our attention on gathering our energy. Become aware of where your energy is being stolen from you. If you have an array of different addictions that you're struggling with, find the smallest and easiest one to overcome first. Because when you overcome that addiction, you accumulate more energy. Now you have more power to deal with the greater addictions. Until you have power, it is extremely difficult to live, to do anything, to engage in any kind of difficult behavior. So we have to begin one step at a time. It is like in a video game where you have to go and gather XP to become stronger so you can battle and overcome the greater demons, the greater problems in your life. And so in my life, in my case, it was a long grind of one step at a time, each and every day, getting stronger, getting better. But you have to have that desire, and you have to believe that it is possible, and I am proof that it is possible. But the secret that I've discovered now is that you don't want to waste your time and energy thinking about the future. Because when we get caught up in the future, we get caught in our minds, and that creates more suffering, that creates hopelessness. When you shrink your reality down into the present moment, all that there is the next step in front of you. The mind can only focus on one thing at a time. So when you focus on the present moment, there are no problems. It is our attention that gets dragged around in all these different directions by negative thoughts, by addictions and emotions, and that is how we lose energy. So the 3 simple steps: have the desire to live and to make life better for yourself. And you do this by accumulating more energy, more life force, by moving the body, by circulating the oxygen in the blood, stretching, getting sunlight, doing cold and hot therapy, making better food choices, fasting, the more you become more aware of your energy, you will know what actions take energy and what actions give you more energy. Then the next step is that you have to believe that it is possible. Without belief, it is easy to become hopeless and to give up. And you can't succeed if you give up. Then lastly, we just put one foot in front of the other. We reduce our reality to the present moment, not thinking about the future, not allowing the mind to steal our attention away from the present moment. We focus on what is the one thing that we can do right now that will help circulate our energy, help us accumulate more energy, and help stop the energy leakages. The more power we gain, the more control we have over our life, and the more we can make the better decisions that lead us to live our greatest life, a life that is worth living, a life in which we can wake up every morning and say, yes, I am excited and grateful to be alive. It's not an easy journey, but you will have become far greater after having gone through that darkness than if you had never gone through the darkness in the first place.